Mae hanes Coedpoeth yn dyddio nôl tua 160 o flynyddoedd, ond dydy golwg y stryd fawr ddim wedi newid yn fawr yn ystod y 100 mlynedd diwethaf. Mae busnesau a diwydiant o hyd wedi bod yn ganolog i hanes Coedpoeth. Tybed sut mae'r ardal yn ymdopi yn y sefyllfa ariannol presennol?
It's a very vibrant, forward-thinking community.
It's good for people to know where their ancestors came from.
Well, the community were very much involved in the design and consultation about the building being here.
I think there's quite a strong community out there.
Ond i gychwyn, dwi am fynd yn ôl i wreiddiau gwreiddiol y pentref sy'n cychwyn tua 2 milltir i'r de wrth yr afon clywedog. Lle gychwynnodd Coedpoeth?
Well, the earliest development of the settlement of Coedpoeth was here in the Nant, and it was a direct result of the iron industry in Bersham. There was also some coal mining going along this river valley as well, using sort of the bell pit sort of method of mining, because the coal actually outcrops very near the surface here.
Well, Coedpoeth, in English, is hot woods, and in common with many other places, especially in England, like burnt wood and various other towns or villages, it's come from the manufacture of charcoal, where Coedpoeth at one time was covered in trees. The trees were taken to make charcoal, to feed the ironworks in Bersham. The coal overtook the charcoal burning. Once coal was discovered, the charcoal burning ended.
Beth oedd yn gyfrifol am datblygiad yr ardal?
Well, Coedpoeth is primarily, developed on coal reserves. There's no getting away from that fact. And the coal here actually outcrops very, very near the surface. So they were able to get at these coal reserves very easily using very early mining technology. The actual population of the village rose from 1851, it was about 1,300, to over 4,000 people 50 years later. So there was an exponential growth of the area as more and more families moved in, or more and more men moved in.
Beth wnaeth Coedpoeth?
It was what was classed as an open village. There was a great deal of land that could be bought very easily and developed. It wasn't under the control of just one landowner, like Bersham was under the Fitzhugh family. It was a great stronghold for non-conformity. Lots of Calvinistic and Wesleyan Methodists. Great many chapels developed. They had, common aspirations, common goals. They wanted to give their children a better chance. Coedpoeth had the advantage of having not only a primary school, they had a secondary technical school as well in the 19th century. So children were able to go to school in Coedpoeth until they were 12, 13, 14. That wasn't happening in other places in the rest of the country.
I've always said that the past is just as important as the future. I think you learn from the past, you learn from experience. And the past, which is history, is experience. But for future generations, it's good for people to know where their ancestors came from.
Ydy pentref Coedpoeth wastad wedi bod yn llwyddiannus?
Well, the growth and survival of a settlement depends very much on the soil and the geological features, either for agriculture or industrial purposes. Of course, Coedpoeth had the coal. But you also have to have good communication systems, transport systems, railways, roads, rivers. It also had a turnpike road which ran up through Coedpoeth from Wrexham over to Ruthin from the 18th century onwards. And it had a railway that was not just for industrial purposes, it also provided a passenger service from about 1847. It's also down to the people, and I think because of the way the community developed, the people moving in, the strong religious, pious, Welsh-speaking community made the village. It's a very strong community, it's got lots of successful businesses, it's got lots of societies going on. 2 very, very good schools, a Welsh medium and an English medium school. It's a very vibrant, forward-thinking community.
Mae Coedpoeth wedi datblygu o'r rhan ganolog o nifer y diwydiannau eraill yr ardal. Yma roedd yr hen rheilffordd yn rhedeg o Mynera i lawr at Coedpoeth. Mae'r pentref o hyd wedi cael linciau agos iawn at y gymuned sydd yn byw yma.
Well, the community were very much involved in the design and consultation about the building being here to start with. The Coedpoeth Development Committee meet on a monthly basis, and they've been involved in this process for the last 8 years.
Pa linci sy'n cael ei darparu ar gyfer trigolion y pentref o fewn y ganolfan?
Basically, it's an enterprise and lifelong learning centre, so it's here to provide employment and training opportunities for local people. Everybody that's employed within the centre staff certainly. I'm a local girl, I'm from the village, I was born and brought up here.
Sut mae Coedpoeth yn ymdopi gyda'r sefyllfa ariannol anodd ar hyn o bryd?
So we've seen a lot of small businesses sprouting up. Since we've had Plus Pen 2 built, and we've got business units there, there are a lot of people interested. IT, I think, is quite a big one. And there's a lot of shops in the high street. The shops are filling up now, because we had a lot of empty shops for a while. A lot more social activities for people to go to. I think there's quite a strong community out there. It's just trying to get them together and work together, and there's a lot more going on for the young people as well, to get them off the streets and get them involved in things and get them to respect their community more.
The construction was funded through what was the old Urban 2 funding, which is ERDF money from Europe and the Welsh Assembly, and also match funding from Wrexham Council. It's actually funded now through people being in the buildings, so a budget comes with the people who actually occupy the buildings. The centre is very, very well utilised, so the income's great.
Oes yna elfen o'r ganolfan sy'n adlewyrchu neu efelychu hanes yr ardal?
We have the Coedpoeth History Society meet here on a monthly basis. They meet on the third Thursday of every month, and any event that we put on, the local historian Os Davis, he comes and brings pictures, photographs, even videos sometimes of life gone by, and that's very, very important.
Os unrhyw dystiolaeth yn gadw yn yr ardal i ddangos bod y diwygiad glo wedi bod yma?
Well, very little remains in the landscape today. All the spoil heaps of grassed over. Everything's gone. The mining infrastructure, you know, the head winding gears, things like that. There's not even any street names that reflect the industry. There is one area, the smelt, which well, obviously was related to the charcoal industry, which was the impetus for the initial development of the Coedpoeth area. The greatest legacy is the housing stock. There's still a great many small miners' cottages, 2 up, 2 down, built in the local sandstone and using the local lime mortar from Monera. And of course there's the future generations, the people who've come from the original mining families, that strong Welsh community that developed. People with a sense of pride, hard-working people, they're still here.
Wedi tyfu ar gyfaith y tir, mae Coedpoeth wedi datblygu ar hyd y blynyddoedd gan ddefnyddio'r mwynau o gronfil y ddaear. Mae hyd yn oed ei enw yn adlewyrchu ei hanes. Mae'r pentref wedi cael adegau caled ac mae'n siŵr i gael adegau caled eto, ond mi fydd trigolion y pentref yn barhau i adeiladu a gwella ar gyfaith y gymuned sy'n gref a chlos.